Hi, welcome to Bipolar Boxing Picks. This is Nick. This Friday night, we got Ali Izmailov versus Charles Foster. I'm going to be going to this fight, and I'm very excited to see Ali Izmailov. I don't know what the odds are for this fight, and from a betting perspective, I looked for him, man. I can't find him anywhere. For this particular fight, they have the odds on my website, they have the odds for every other fight on this card, but they don't have the odds for this one. I'm assuming they'd be pretty high anyways. Izmailov's got to be at least a 10-1 favorite, probably. But, if you got something out there, maybe, I don't know, maybe just pick out Izmailov by decision here because I've heard that this Charles Foster guy he's got a pretty extensive amateur background and he's also 22-0 as a professional. I think he's been boxing for like 12 years or something like that. And I don't know, like, he must have a terrible management team if he's undefeated. He's been fighting for 12 years and he hasn't fought one name yet. And I looked at his resume, like I can't find one recognizable name on there. So a lot of unknowns between these guys, but this Ali Izmailov guy looks really good. So I had to do my research on this guy, and it turns out he's trained by John David Jackson. He's one of my favorite trainers ever. And John David Jackson, if you don't know who he is, he's a former professional boxer. I think he was a world champion, and he trained Mosley. He trained B Hop. Remember Curtis Stevens? Curtis Stevens. He trained Clarissa Shields. He's trained a lot of top fighters, and because when I saw this guy, he's from Russia, Ismailov, and he lives in Detroit. So when I saw he was in Detroit, I was wanting to see who he's training with out there. And John David Jackson's a great trainer, so I saw that and I was like, oh, now let me go to the highlights. And I checked his highlights. Then I watched some of his fight footage, and this guy looks great. And he's fighting fighters that he should look great against, but he's taking care of business there. And he's different than you would expect. He just looks like a white Russian bruiser. He almost looks like, he kind of got that Alan Babbitt look to him, where like this guy's not going to take one step back, and he's just no. Ali Izmailov, like he's got the shoulder roll defense, and you just don't see that, like, just from the type of, like, a white Russian fighter. You don't see that a lot, and you also don't see that a lot in the light heavyweight division. A lot of guys are on their front foot. They're very strong. They're very powerful, at least at the top, and they don't have much boxing ability. That's why I've always said, like, Dmitry Bivol. I'm going back to before the Joe Smith fight. I said this guy's the best fighter at light heavyweight, and he is. He's a step above even Beterbiev, in my opinion. But it's because he has that other. But he has a little bit. He's got some crack to him, but he doesn't need it because his boxing ability is so freaking good. But a lot of people have just been getting away on their strength. Guys, like, let's not remember, this is a division where Joe Smith was the number 3 fighter for a couple of years, and it wasn't that long ago. Joe Smith's not that great. Like, I'm telling you right now, if you give this Ali Izmailov guy 2 fights and throw him in there against Josh Smith, or Joe Smith, he will beat him. Like, that's how good this guy is. And this guy's got a very high ceiling. It's just, like I said, he's fighting guys that he should be destroying or whatever, but he looks very good. And like I said, he's not just running it there and knocking people out. He's practicing his defense. Like, I'm watching fights where he gets clipped sometimes, but it's when he's doing that shoulder roll defense. So I'm like, okay, he's trying it out. Like, it's the only way you're going to be able to tell is if you try it in the ring to see how it is. So, but I just like what I see from the guy, and I just see him. He's going to get better and better. He's only 30 years old. He's 10-0, and he just, like, he passes the eye test for me. This Charles Foster guy, I didn't look up anything on him, to be honest. Like, I looked up his record and stuff like that, but I just don't know much about him. But so I'm assuming this will be easy night's work for Ali Izmailov, and it's going to at least put him on somewhat of a radar for somebody else. Like, because to be honest, like, I don't know if I would have paid too much attention to this card if I wasn't going to it, especially with you have Teofimo Lopez, Josh Taylor coming up over the weekend. Adrian Broner fights that night. He fights on Friday night too. Guillermo Rigondeaux fights on the Broner card. So I don't know if I would be watching this fight if I wasn't going to it. So I don't know if I'd know who Izmailov was. But I'm telling you right now, I love what I see from this guy. And I mean, sky's the limit for him. Sky's the limit. Give this guy a year or two, and I think he'd be a top 5 fighter in that division. I really do. I think even after this fight, I think you could throw him in there with like a Buatsi or Anthony Yard. I really do. I really think he's that good, and I think he can beat guys like that. But let's see. But as a boxing fan, I'm excited because this is the future right here. 30 years old, so that's kind of young for that division, and let's see where this guy can go. But I guess if you're betting the fight, like let's just take Izmailov by decision because this Foster guy, from what I read, like he does got a pretty decent amateur career and he's undefeated as a professional. So, and he's been in the fight game he's been fighting for like 12 years or something like that. So I don't know if Izmailov will be able to take him out, even though Izmailov can crack, dude. He's a big guy, but I just think he'll decision him, and it'll be a wide decision. But I'm hoping it'll just be a good fight. And even if it's not a good fight, even if he shows greatness, the last time I watched a light heavyweight fight at this casino, the same venue, it was Dimitri Bivol versus Joe Smith, and it was a very boring fight. But we got to see how great Dimitri Bivol actually is. So maybe the same thing here. But like I said, just very, very excited to see this guy fight. But you guys let me know what you think down in the comments. And after the fight, let me know what you think about Izmailov. Have a good one, guys.